Hello and tjena mijn binnen. Today is another day of working on the Volvo. Only a small job today because the move is coming, etc, etc, so I can't start big projects. But something I always can do is save some weight. And today I'm going to save some weight by replacing one of the side windows of the car with a polycarbonate version. Polycarbonate, also known as Lexan. That's a brand name, so the official name is polycarbonate. It's a very tough and light material. I'll show you how to install one of the windows. I'll do the front side window of the passenger side today. And afterwards I'll show you how much weight we saved and why I chose to replace one of these windows. In the future I'll be replacing all the other windows. But that's also I will be explaining a little later. First I start by removing the door panels. This is not original door panels, obviously, just an aluminum plate. Bought at an MK Motorsport in Sweden. But yeah, to reach the inner works of the door I need to remove everything that's covering it first. Next I remove the door rubber, that's not going to be used anymore later, and also the new glass will be mounted on this strip of steel. Then I start to remove the actual window, or first the window actuator that enables the window to roll down. A little bit hard to see in this shot, but there are some clips and plastic things that the window mechanism rides in, and yeah, gotta remove that first. When everything is disconnected, I can remove the glass. Sadly, I didn't press record when I actually detached the window, but it's just two pins with also these special clips that keep everything together. So it's quite easy. Afterwards, the door mechanism or the window mechanism comes out. Also a very easy removal. Back in the workshop I start by putting the glass on the sheet of polycarbonate, not polyester, polycarbonate, and yeah, turning it around to have a little bit of a better angle for drawing, since I need to trace the window with a marker onto the plastic. So there's a plastic cover on each sheet, so the sheet actually is transparent, but yeah, and this makes for an easy way to trace something on the window. So after tracing the shape, it's time to get the jigsaw, using a battery powered one with a quite fine saw blade on it. You should use one that's suited for like metal or whatever, for with fine and small tooths. Don't use the big ones that you use to saw wood. When creating these shots, I was fully convinced that the side of my workbench was in the shot, but now that I'm editing, I see that it's completely not in the shot, and everything I do is just outside the frame. But luckily, this was not the last window I had to do, and there's the power of editing. So here's a better shot of me cutting down a sheet of polycarbonate. These sheets cut really well and really easy. You don't have to be afraid to like break it or whatever. After cutting, there's, well, it's quite a nice cut that the jigsaw leaves, but I like to just use a file to clean off any burrs and also round over the sharp edges a little bit more. After cutting, it's time to put it in the car. This is super easy, especially since the polycarbonate is quite bending, and yeah, it slides in quite easily. It's a little bit tight, and the corners are not super round as with the original window, so you have to carefully make sure it fits, goes into the rubber well. You can see here that I'm struggling a little bit since it folded some of the rubbers, but I got it in within a few seconds. So just checking the rubbers, everything is nice and smooth. After putting the window in, it's time to mark 3 holes for some small M5 bolts that will keep the window in place. So it's quite a tight fit on the rubber, so we just need to keep the window up and make sure it doesn't fall down. So 3 bolts more than enough. These are the bolts I'm using, just some stainless short M5 by 20 bolts, small washer for the backside, and a nut. that's it. Windows installed. As you can see, the window's installed. The old window and all the stuff's inside on the scales. I made some calculations. Let's find out how much we saved today. Here on the scales is the old window and the window mechanism. Since I already had quite much gutted, like the speakers and everything, it's just the window and the window mechanism. I had a manual window, which is also a lot lighter than electric windows already, as you can guess, but this is all I took from the car. And it tips the scales at 4 kilos. Before it was, well, 3.9. That's what I measured before, well, 4. But let's give it the benefit of the doubt, go a little low and use the 3.9. Okay, so the new window I weighed before installing it was 1.3 kilos. In the stupid Imperial things, this is 2.8 pounds. I had some time over, so I converted it to the weird Imperial stuff. So okay, new weight 1.3 kilos. The old window, as you could see here, and we just weighed, was 3.94 kilo-ish, which translates to roughly 8.5 pounds. This gives a total savings of 2.6 kilos for one window, which is 5.7 pounds. If we multiply this by 4 windows, I did one of the rear windows for the rear door windows already. That's a little bit heavier since it doesn't have this slanted front, so it's bigger, more surface area. The total weight saving for replacing all the windows with polycarbonate is 10 to 12 kilos roughly. So it's just the windows and the window mechanisms. So no other weight savings, no weight saving. I'll show you later maybe what I also did to one of the doors. That's also a lot of weight saving, but this is just purely the windows. And that adds up quite rapidly. So this is only the 4 windows. As you know, a Volvo 240 has this big side windows too. I replaced one of them since I had to put in the fuel cap there. I'll make sure to weigh this later. I will also be replacing the rear window with the big 13th concept sticker. But it's kind of stupid, but I completely forgot to order a piece of polycarbonate large enough. So I have an order for multiple sheets. So this will be the left sides, and this will be the inside of the car, where I will be building a firewall later when the roll cage will be installed. So a lot more weight saving. My estimate would be to be able to save roughly roughly 20 to 30 kilos just on the windows. Reasons to do replace this obviously is lightness. I replaced the windows with the same thickness. You can also go thinner, but these windows are 4mm thick, and I decided to go with the same thickness for the polycarbonate, which is easier to install, so the rubbers will fit everything. So that's the main reason. But you could go thinner if you want, if you ditch the rubbers also. But this was what I chose. Another advantage, let's start in the top, is that you can put in ducting, etc. So in glass you can drill and make holes and everything theoretically. But then the emphasis is on theoretically. In practice that's not doable. So you could do ducting, etc. So like cooling for stuff that's inside the car, like fuel cooling or driver cooling, which is also very important. I'm going to do that in the future when I will be installing the driver's side windows. But that's for the future. Polycarbonate is like, according to the internet, 200 times stronger than regular glass, which is nice. So if you accidentally get hit by something, the glass won't break, since it's not glass, it's plastic. So lighter, said that, do it yourself. You've seen in the video how super easy it is to make windows like this. So if you damage it or want to change anything or whatever, you want to do something with the windows, you can do it. It's just plastic. The only downside to polycarbonate is that it's quite sensitive to scratches. It scratches quite hard. It's a very bendable material. You can bend it without it snapping. The thing that snaps when you saw it or modify it in any way is not polycarbonate, but the other one. I'll put the name in the window or in the screen below in post editing because I can't come up with the name, but it's very common, and that's the stuff you buy at like your local hardware store. But this is polycarbonate. You should buy it like probably online or whatever. But it is very sensitive to scratches since it is so soft and malleable. You can get scratches quite soon. My idea for the car will be to replace. That's why I left, by the way, on the plastic on the windows for now. So at least while looking at it, it won't scratch or working on it. So I'll be taking that off soon, obviously. But for now I'll leave it on to prevent it from scratch. But what I want to do is when I replace all the windows, I want to put window film on it, maybe transparent, just to prevent scratches. But maybe I'll do something stylish, like yellow or red or whatever. Kind of. Sometimes you see it on old school hot rods. I think it's something cool that should be done more often, like doing blacked out windows. I don't like it. Not on this style car. Maybe on a modern car like our V90 it's nice, but not on these old fish balls. It's way cooler to be able to look inside. And yeah, so yeah. Oh, and I also promised you to show this door, which I also did some extra weight savings on. As you can see, this is more like the Swiss cheese edition of the V90 240. There are some holes. Saved another like half a kilo to a kilo. It's hard to measure since the large holes are drilled with a hole saw, but the small ones are with a step drill. So it just turns into chips, and it's hard to weigh the difference without taking the door off and blah 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 blah. And also there are some sound deadening, like this bitumen. I don't know if it's also an English word, but this starish stuff, that sound dampening. I've been removing it in the car also. It's a hell of a job to do, but it works. There is some in this door still. You can still see it here. Going to remove that later. Probably if the weather's good today. It's a little bit rainy sometimes, but if the weather stays a little bit nice, then I'll start drilling some holes in this door too, to save some more weight. Yeah, that's it for you.